We're diving into a viral image making rounds online this month. It claims to show a scene from a 2002 episode of The Simpsons that uncannily mirrors real-life events. In the image, Donald Trump is seen touching a glowing orb alongside two Middle Eastern men. Just last month, President Trump did exactly that with the King of Saudi Arabia and the President of Egypt. So, did The Simpsons really predict the future? In a 1993 episode titled Springfield, a tiger attacks two magicians, parodying the long-running Las Vegas Siegfried and Roy show. This scene was intended to be a humorous and exaggerated take on the popular magic act, but it ended up foreshadowing a real-life event. 10 years later, in 2003, Roy Horn was mauled on stage by a white Bengal tiger during a performance at the Mirage Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. The attack was shocking and left Horn with severe injuries, making it eerie to see how the Simpsons episode predicted this event years in advance. Since then, the Simpsons have made numerous predictions that eerily came true in real life. But things are about to get even more explosive as the Simpsons have predicted doom for 2024. What are these predictions, and how will they impact the show and the world? Let's find out. Make America Great Again 2. One of The Simpsons' favorite subject matters to predict is politics, especially American politics. And who is more newsworthy for a conspiracy theory than Donald Trump? While this may not seem like much of a prediction since Donald Trump has already been president of the United States before and was disgracefully impeached, wouldn't it be normal if he would want to return to the White House and clear his legacy? However, the date The Simpsons aired the episode where they predicted Trump's most recent campaign for the presidency will shock you. In the episode, the Simpson family travel to the future, and Homer Simpson can be seen floating over a sign that says Trump 2024 over a landscape that looks like Donald Trump's head and even has a sign that reads Trump's skull. It is also worth noting that it is not just the fact that the episode is predicting that Trump will return to the White House as President of the United States that is eerie, but also the prediction for his running for office again is a bit suspicious given the circumstances behind it. Trump had announced his campaign began on the 15th of November 2022, 2 whole years ago. But the kicker is that The Simpsons episode did not air in 2024 or any year after 2022 for that matter. The episode aired way back in 2015, before Trump even made it to the White House the first time. World War III. The Simpsons may have predicted Trump's entry into the White House for the second time, but during Trump's first tenure in the Oval Office, it seemed like another of the show's predictions was about to come true, as tensions began looming between the United States and Iran to open the 2020s decade. The tension led to a worldwide 1-month-long paranoia over a looming world war, but the tensions were soon quelled. But that didn't stop people from referring to the 1987 episode titled World War III, which seemingly predicted the advent of another world war, as Homer Simpson developed a sudden paranoia over global tensions and began warning everybody about a coming world war. The fear of a third world war has been looming over international politics since the end of the Second World War in 1945, especially after the invention and proliferation of nuclear weapons. However, the closest brush the world has had with a possible global-scale altercation is the Cold War of the 1980s between the American-led Western Bloc and the USSR-led Eastern Bloc, but it never quite reached the predicted heights of doom that the First and Second World Wars reached. Nevertheless, even the end of the Cold War could not stop global anxiety about a possible Third World War. As more countries seek power in the international space, the more tensions increase, and the chances of a global war also increase. In the last 2 years, there has been ever-increasing tension in global politics with the emergence of the Ukraine and Russia crisis and the West and East fighting proxy wars. As the Israelis declared war in Gaza, CIA spy Andre Bustamante warned that a third world war starting in 2024 may be more possible than we think. Trump's economic meltdown. The Simpsons' romance with Donald Trump runs deep, and as we have already seen a few of their predictions involving Trump come true, it would be wise to not take any Simpsons prediction involving Trump lightly. especially one that warns of a global-scale economic downturn. In another eerie episode titled Bart to the Future, world leaders gather to deliberate over the state of the global economy on the brink of an economic meltdown, and this happens during the fictional presidency of Donald Trump, years before he even steps foot into the White House. With the obvious reference to the future in the episode's theme and title, and the possibility that Trump stands a good chance at winning the federal elections and returning to the White House in 2024, the current state of the economy is now looking more sinister. Is the episode's prediction from 24 years ago really about to come true? Since the turn of the decade, inflation has been on a steady hike both in and outside the United States. Economists have predicted that U.S. economic growth will remain below pre-pandemic levels for the third year, and there have also been talks between different countries for a need to collaborate and address the various trade disruptions in the international space. The United Nations Trade and Development Committee, UNCTAD, forecasted at the beginning of the year that global economic growth will continuously slow down to 2.6%, which is just a little above the recession threshold of 2.5%. This will mark the third year in a row where global inflation will be flirting with the recession line. The growth rate averaged 3.2% between 2015 and 2019. However, that is not half of it. The report released by UNCTAD ahead of 2024 warned that the focus on the inflation crisis is only just a fraction of the problems of the global economy, as the world also faces other urgent issues that will affect the global economy. Baby translator. Baby cries leave many parents wondering what their little ones are trying to communicate. In the Season 3 finale, "Brother, can you spare a dime?" Homer's half-brother Herb invents a device that translates baby talk into clear language. Now I bet you're all wondering what lies under this sheet. Not really. We peeked inside while you were in the John. Oh, well, here it is again. My baby translator. Initially met with skepticism, Herb's invention became a surprise success, generating many profits. Interestingly, 2024 has seen advancements in technology aimed at interpreting baby cries. The SoundDream company is developing technology that can understand babies' cries. Basically, what we do in SoundDream is that we use AI to analyze baby cries. So we're talking about babies, let's say 0 to 1 year, 1 year and a half. Their website describes it as a non-invasive monitoring system designed to assist parents and pediatricians in understanding the needs of babies. Although apps and software already claim to interpret baby cries, their effectiveness could be better. However, SoundDream has a different approach to this. They will rely on advanced artificial intelligence for sound analysis, and they believe their system offers superior accuracy compared to existing baby cry solutions. That's not all. AI technology has recorded significant advancement just this year. It is safe to say the baby translator from The Simpsons would become a reality. SoundDream even promises to release their product before the end of the year. Hovering car. In a 2005 episode, The Simpsons showed us parts of the future set in 2013. Professor Frank invents a machine for Bart and Lisa. Marge leaves Homer in anger after he spends their savings on an underwater home and a prototype hover car. While the car is bumpy, it allows them to travel through traffic easily. Why'd you buy the first hover car ever made? Didn't you know it'd take time to work out the kinks? I know. It's a hover car. How far away do you think we are from the flying cars? This isn't science fiction anymore. An Oregon-based company, Samson Sky, will deliver their Switchblade flying car in 2024. After 14 years of development, this street-legal vehicle promises to change transportation in ways we've never seen before. But will you need a pilot's license alongside your driver's license? That's a question we'll have to answer shortly. In addition, Renault revealed a flying car named Float in 2017. It can move in all directions or 360 degrees. This means drivers wouldn't need to stress themselves turning. Tesla is also developing similar technology, while major aviation developers such as Boeing and Airbus are also developing their hovering cars, although their projects haven't taken flight yet. Besides the big firms, several innovative startups have led the way in flying vehicle technology. For instance, Joby Aviation is developing a quiet electric air taxi. Aeromobile's developments are even more shocking. It works on flying cars, larger passenger vehicles, and helicopters. It is really hard to keep up with the speed of technological advancement. But what if I told you you could bring a ghost back to life? Here is how. Hologram technology. Long before the development of hologram communication, The Simpsons had already shown us the concept. In one episode, Bart saw the future through one of Professor Frank's inventions, a holographic display. While we are yet to witness widespread adoption of hologram technology, as shown in the series, there is rapid advancement in the development and deployment of holograms. Developers build machines that can project realistic 3D images for communication and entertainment. The future might not be as rosy as The Simpsons depicts, but the seeds of that vision are being sown. Have you seen the DreamWalk HD3 model? This fantastic technology projects realistic 3D images and is very immersive and ultra-realistic. Picture learning the latest dance moves from a live instructor who lives across the globe, or talking to a realistic model of a late friend or relative, all from the comfort of your home. While the DreamWalk HD3 is currently not surplus in the market, it shows a significant step towards widespread adoption of hologram technology. There are media reports that developers will roll out several hologram devices before the end of the year. This advancement reminds us that movie fiction has become real-world innovation. That's not all. Ivanka Trump's presidency. It seems the writers of The Simpsons focus intensely on Donald Trump and his family. There's a hint in an episode from October 2016 where Homer Simpson wears a badge that says Ivanka 2028, suggesting that Ivanka Trump, Donald Trump's daughter, might run for president in 2028. This could be another instance where the show seems to predict the future. Donald Trump is contesting the 2024 presidency, but things might not go well. For example, the jury returned a guilty verdict in his hush money trial, and the court is expected to issue a sentence by July 11th. The judge in Donald Trump's hush money trial has ruled the former president has violated a gag order and found him in contempt of court. Could it mean Ivanka will come back for the crown by 2028? But that wasn't Ivanka Trump's first appearance on the show. Remember a 2017 episode where she replaced Ruth Bader Ginsburg on the Supreme Court? The new Supreme Court Justice Ivanka takes Ruth Bader Ginsburg's seat on the bench. She was also shown promoting a robe and earrings from her fashion line. Interestingly, this episode was released during media speculation about Ivanka's potential political aspirations. Political commentators have also been baffled about how active and influential she's grown in her father's political circle. But there's more to this, and it seems The Simpsons are obsessed with the idea of a female presidency. Now, this may be one of the most controversial predictions for 2024, but there's an intrigue to this you'd love to know. First female U.S. president. In the Bart to the Future episode, Lisa is shown as the future president who takes office after Trump's term. She seemed focused on addressing the problems Trump left behind. From the Oval Office, Lisa told her staff that she inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump. According to the episode's writer, Dan Greeny, Lisa must become president after Trump has left America hanging on the ropes. He added that President Trump left America precisely that way. We needed Lisa to face problems beyond her fixing, implying everything went as badly as possible, which is why we had Trump as president before her. In other words, things had to hit rock bottom first. Does it mean Trump will win the coming election and leave the country in a bad state? If you believe that The Simpsons predicted the first Trump presidency, perhaps it's worth considering that this prediction about Lisa taking over might also come true. Many women have tried to become the first female president. Still, they have yet to claim the crown. First was the legendary Victoria Woodhull, who became the first female presidential candidate in the United States in 1872. Although there is some dispute over the legality of her candidacy, Woodhull is generally recognized as the first woman to aim for the highest office. She didn't win, but her candidacy paved the way for other women in politics and leadership. Next was Margaret Chase Smith, the first candidate for a major political party when she was nominated by the Republicans in 1964. Although she couldn't make it out of the primaries, she qualified for 6 state primaries, coming in second in Illinois with 25% of the votes. She wasn't the last. Charlene Mitchell made history in 1968 as the first African-American woman to run for president. She also holds the record as the first woman of any race to run for the office. Shirley Chisholm followed, becoming the first African-American woman to run for president under the Democratic Party in 1972. After Chisholm lost, it took another 36 years for another woman, Hillary Clinton, to appear on the Democratic ballots. In the July 2016 elections, Hillary Clinton became the first woman to win the popular vote, receiving 66 million votes. This record remains unbroken. Could 2024 be the year America crowns its first female president? With Nikki Haley suspending her bid, it's hard to predict the outcome. However, if The Simpsons were right again, it would be one of history's most memorable moments. Rebellion of robots. There is a common trend throughout the Simpsons series, the use of humor and technological innovations. In Season 23, Episode 17, automation was prevalent in the workplace. It started at Mr. Burns' factory. He faced rising manufacturing and labor costs and had to make a drastic decision. Guess what he did? He replaced his entire workforce with robots. It was a hilarious scenario, but there is something serious we need to point out. Here it is. The scene raises many questions about the future of work. Mr. Burns eventually got the robots and instructed the workers to train them very well because they would soon replace the robots. That's not all. Mr. Burns addressed his employees, proclaiming the robots as the future masters of the human race. However, one employee muttered, "Wow, sounds familiar." Mr. Burns then shouted, "You fools, these are robots. You will train them and then they will replace you." Following the announcement of the robot workforce, Springfield experienced a widespread labor shortage. The town experienced a 99% unemployment rate, except for Homer, who was retained to keep up with the robot maintenance. The robots would eventually turn on the humans as they tried to murder both Homer and Mr. Burns. The people of Springfield eventually saved them. That was the end of the story in The Simpsons. But it is just the beginning for us in the real world. This brings us to the question, will artificial intelligence ever take over the world? Believe it or not, that's entirely possible. Here's one of the reasons why. A study published in January 2024 revealed that specific AI programs can resist the fancy safety methods designed to keep them under control. This study was carried out by a team of scientists at the AI safety and research company, Anthropic, and their findings are nothing short of terrifying. By programming several large language models to misbehave on purpose, this research company tries to prepare for the worst situation and develop new ways to stop an AI program if it ever goes out of control. However, as the researchers discovered during their study, some of these large language models had learned to ignore the training and stay mean. These AI programs have also learned to hide their bad behavior during training. This next prediction is just weird. It makes you wonder if The Simpsons also hired writers from space. Takeover of Mars. There are several plans to go to Mars, but this was simply unthinkable in the past years, but not for The Simpsons. In Season 27, Episode 6, Lisa discovers the government wants people to volunteer to move to Mars. They'd be the first people ever to live there. Lisa and her whole family signed up, of course. The episode showed all their funny adventures on Mars. The episode ends with a funny scene where they say, "Welcome, first people on Mars." Unfortunately, their spaceship wouldn't start, so they didn't go anywhere. But guess what? The episode jumps to 2051, and Lisa and Marge live on Mars. Lisa even says, "I can go wherever I want, even Venus." Sound familiar? Now, Elon Musk wants to send people to Mars. He's been talking about it for a long time and even started SpaceX to make it happen. Interestingly, Elon Musk once chose 2024 as the proposed date to launch his Mars mission. Does this mean The Simpsons can see the future, or is it all just a coincidence? Let's have your thoughts in the comment sections as we move to the next prediction. Virtual reality food. There is an episode on The Simpsons where they eat food in the virtual world. In this remarkable episode, Homer and Marge wear special helmets to see and experience the virtual food. They even use straws to enjoy virtual fudge. These helmets are powered by a super advanced computer system that allows them to interact with the food as though they're in the same place, even though they're not. This scene is funny because it defies our knowledge of food perception. How do you even eat food you cannot physically see, smell, or touch? Homer even complains that the virtual fudge isn't tasty. This might seem like a crazy prediction then, but it is now gaining ground among innovators. Let's blow your mind before you discard this as a digital fantasy. There's a restaurant called Aero Banquets RMX. They combine fancy French food with virtual reality. Users have reported eating delicious food in an electronic setting. It's an entirely different way to experience fine dining. Aero Banquets RMX lets you enjoy French food in a new way with special technology that makes it feel extra real. VR companies are already doing well in games, art, and houses, but this virtual food experience is one of a kind. The developers want to change people's perceptions of food and make eating more enjoyable. Will you consider a virtual reality dinner sometime? The next revelation is quite mysterious. Get ready for a shiver down your spine. Black hole. A creepy episode of The Simpsons called Treehouse of Horror, 23 inches, aired in 2013. In this episode, the town of Springfield is in danger. A giant black hole appears and threatens to swallow everything. Remember how Lisa tried to warn everyone? It's a lot worse than a stray dog, and it's a black hole. Of course, nobody listened. Lisa also warned them to stop throwing things in the hole. She said the more they throw in, the bigger and more dangerous it becomes. The black hole sucks all of Springfield, leaving Maggie alone in the ruined town. This episode is just another example of how The Simpsons seem to predict the future. This crazy episode was just a work of fiction, but it makes you wonder about giant space holes scientists have found recently. They claim the closest black hole is far away, so there's no need to worry. It is The Simpsons, and they've predicted some weird things that happened, but we are not sure the black holes will swallow our world in 2024. Maybe our grandchildren can worry about that. Music-induced mind control. In Season 12, Episode 14, Bart and his friends formed a boy band called Party Posse. They also stole a secret voice-enhancing software developed by NASA to improve their singing abilities. One of their first songs was Dropped a Bomb, and it had a weird and hidden message. The government was trying to control people's minds through their music. But there's one more hidden secret. When you play the song backward, it says, "Join the Navy." This weird trick made everyone in Springfield act strangely. Lisa found out and confronted the music director. To Lisa's shock, he was a Navy officer. He told Lisa that music has been used for a long time to get people to join the military, just like how the United States used movies to convince people to fight in World War II. Many media and intelligence reports suggest that the United States used entertainment for propaganda purposes during the Second World War and the Vietnam War. This raises questions about the role of modern music, where the government can use catchy melodies and sing-along lyrics to manipulate us into joining the military or doing other things they want. What other disturbing revelation does The Simpsons have for us? The next on our list is terrifying. Zombie apocalypse. The Simpsons take every opportunity to show us the rise of the undead. The 2009 episode, Don't Have a Cow, Mankind, shows a zombie outbreak with humor. Springfield becomes ground zero, and the Simpsons try to survive this apocalyptic situation with their usual wit. The horror starts with Krusty's new menu item called Burger 2. Burger 2 is made with a disturbing ingredient, cattle fed on other cattle. Kent transforms into a ravenous muncher, starting a wave of zombification across Springfield. Fast forward 28 days, the town resembles a post-apocalyptic wasteland, but a savior emerged as Bart became immune after eating a tainted burger. He worked hard to rescue other family members. Following advice from Dr. Hibbert, they migrated to the rumored haven of Shelbyville. One more thing before we forget. This wasn't your standard zombie apocalypse. Apu stopped the spread mainly because he was a vegetarian and didn't touch the infected burgers. Chaos erupts as the Simpsons flee the ravaged town, but Apu stays back to ensure the family reaches the safe haven. But the family briefly plans something dark. The community believes Bart's immunity makes him the medication, and they plan to eat him to cure the infection. In true Simpsons fashion, the family devised a funny and absurd solution. They made Bart infect their food supply, vaccinating the remaining townspeople through exposure. While there's no sign of a real-life zombie apocalypse soon, the Simpsons' predictions rarely go unfulfilled. Will this be any different? If you found this zombie outbreak scary, then sit tight because the next prediction is not good news either. World War III. In a 1987 short on The Tracy Ullman Show, The Simpsons touched on the chilling possibility of World War III. In this classic clip, Homer, the funny prankster, wakes his family in a panic, announcing a full-blown nuclear war. They all rushed into their makeshift bomb shelter in a record 18 seconds. They'd probably prepared for this several times. Surprisingly, it's all a false alarm, highlighting Homer's paranoia and the family's acceptance of his ways. Homer later woke his family with panicked declarations of World War III, only to be met with tired groans and their 18-second dash to the bomb shelter. The joke escalates when Bart locks Homer in the shelter after a fake doomsday announcement. Homer's exaggerated reactions and the family's tired acceptance perfectly capture the blend of dark humor and social commentary. These recurring war drills and the family's tired response may become relevant today. With ongoing global tensions, some viewers believe it is a subtle prophecy of coming nuclear conflict. The Simpsons thrill us with humor, sci-tech, and social commentary, while people continue to argue about the validity of their predictions. We have come to the end of The Simpsons predictions for 2024. Are these going to happen, or are they just guesswork? Which of these predictions truly terrifies you? Thank you for joining us today. If you like this content, please remember to click the like and subscribe button. Thank you.